We got news for you. We got news for you. We got news for you.
While they devise our demise, we grow wise. Upset the setup. The element of surprise, it's a setup. It's time to upset the setup.
Welcome to Telling It Like It Is News, Saturday, May 14th, 2011. And yes, we're back telling it like it is. Afro Prepper, going to talk about Arizona liberals seek to form new state. Libyan TV carries audio of Gaddafi's taunting of Nato. Indiana court rules no right to resist illegal cop entry into your house. FEMA to confiscate food from local farms in emergencies. And last but not least, worldwide flooding. But first, a message from our sponsors.
Let's have sex on the beach, laying in the sand, just you and me, hand in hand. Come on. Come on. Let's have sex on the beach, laying in the sand, just you and me, hand in hand. Come on. Come on. Let's have sex on the beach, laying in the sand, just you and me, hand in hand. Come on. Come on. Let's have sex on the beach, laying in the sand, just you and me, hand in hand. Come on. Come on.
Hope you enjoyed that. Again, shechef.blogspot.com. Great blog to read if you are looking for some recipes, ladies, gentlemen, whoever you may be. She's great. That's my wife. So go check her out, ask some questions. And again, she doesn't bite. Getting into it, folks. AZ liberals seek to form new state. Another one of these succession arguments. This came out of Reuters on March 10th. March 10th? What the? Come on, cuz. May 10th. All right? Again, Reuters. Here's the article. Let's read a little bit of this here. Let me get into it. It says, Tucson, Arizona. A long simmering movement by liberal stalwarts in southern Arizona to break away from the rest of the largely conservative state is at a boiling point as secession backers press to bring their long-shot ambition to the forefront of Arizona politics. Apparently, this has been going on for quite some time, folks. I was unaware of that. Again, I just moved here about 6 years ago. A group of lawyers from the Democratic stronghold of Tucson and surrounding Pima County have launched a petition drive seeking support for a November 2012 ballot question on whether the 48th state should be divided in two. Divided up, folks. They say the ultimate goal of the newly formed Political Action Committee, Start Our State, is to split Pima County off into what will become the nation's 51st state, tentatively dubbed Baja, Arizona. All right. Here's a quote from the argument, or from the article here. It says that we at least need to get it on the ballot as a non-binding resolution to ask the people of Pima County if they want to be part of Arizona. Tucson attorney Paul Eric Strom, a former Pima County Democratic chairman who launched the campaign, told Reuters. All the stars would have to align for this to happen, but it could conceivably happen by the fall of 2013. Now, U.S. history is replete with efforts to carve one state from another, from the creation of Kentucky to Tennessee in the 1790s to more modern misfires like proposals to partition Long Island from New York or to split California in half. Folks, the size of this would be roughly about, a little bit over the sides of Rhode Island, Delaware, Connecticut, and New Jersey in land mass and surpassed several other states in population, including Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, or the Dakotas, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. This is a pretty big deal, folks. And hey, you know, I'm not saying that yay or nay on this. I just think that there might be some other ramifications that people will definitely need to think about as far as succeeding and splitting Arizona in two. But hey, if they decide to do that, it might be a little easier for us here in Maricopa County to build a fence against them clowns in southern Arizona. So you tell me what you think. But then again, there wouldn't be any University of Arizona Wildcats then, would it? It'd be University of Baja, Arizona, or whatever, Wildcats. Not such a good ring. Moving on. Libyan TV carries audio of Gaddafi taunting NATO. Yes! Do your thing, homeboy. Because I'm just not about this whole regime change thing. The regime change hasn't worked in Iraq. Regime change hasn't worked in Egypt. It's just causing nothing but strife, and the people are suffering for it. You know, because NATO thinks that, oh, we can just bomb civilian targets. But they don't consider them civilian targets. They have all of the intel, and that's why all the civilians died, because they're definitely, military installations. Not so much. From, again, Reuters, Libyan state television carried brief audio tape remarks, it said, were by Muammar Gaddafi, in which he taunted NATO as a cowardly crusader whose bombs could not kill him. And I quote, "I tell the cowardly crusader, NATO, that I live in a place they cannot reach and where you cannot kill me," said the man on the audio tape, whose voice sounded like Gaddafi's. "Even if you kill the body, you will not be able to kill the soul that lives in the hearts of millions." Now, you got to understand what Gaddafi was doing before we went over there. One, he has an aquifer, then he started irrigating the soils to provide food for his family, or for his, not only his family, but for the people of Libya, which is Africa, folks. It's not the Middle East, according to some of our congressmen who are so in the know that they think that Libya is the Middle East. And we voted these clowns into office. Unbelievable. Next, you got to understand he's got 144 tons of gold bullion. You know, he's got that. And he sits on sweet crude oil, man. So, I mean, he's got resources. He's got interests that America and the UK and France and all of them NATO allied countries want to get. They got it. That's corporate gangsterism. Remember that. But remember, man, regime change, dude, you shouldn't go messing with other people's affairs. Again, they killed Gaddafi's son. They killed his grandkids. I mean, come on. How is this humanitarian effort? Makes no sense. But you won't hear that in the mainstream, or should I say lamestream media. Okay? Read the article. All the articles are in the description box. We're going to move on. Court ruling. This right here should hit home. This is NWI.com. Court. Indiana court. No right to resist illegal cop entry into your house. This stems from a case where the police went to respond to a domestic dispute, okay? And, let me get it right here. The court's decision stems from a Vanderbilt County case in which police were called to investigate a husband and wife arguing outside their apartment. When the couple went back inside their apartment, the husband told police they were not needed and blocked the doorway so they could not enter. When an officer entered anyway, the husband shoved the officer against a wall. A second officer then used a stun gun on the husband and arrested him. Folks, man, Fourth Amendment, man, against illegal search and seizures. You don't have a warrant, you shouldn't be able to come in a house. And this is what this guy says. This is what the Supreme Justice Stephen David, says. We believe a right to resist an unlawful police entry into a home is against public policy and is incompatible with modern Fourth Amendment jurisprudence. What? We also find that allowing resistance unnecessarily escalates the level of violence and therefore the risk of injuries to all parties involved without preventing the arrest. So, what you mean to tell me is that you leave it for steroided cops to decide if they just gonna, bust down the door and come in your house. You don't need any type of reason. And is incompatible with modern Fourth Amendment jurisprudence. I mean, modern? No, the Constitution is the Constitution. If it still exists. I'll let you be the judge. Moving on. FEMA. Major floods in 2010, or excuse me, FEMA. Where's FEMA at? FEMA's in my other one. FEMA to confiscate food from local farms in emergencies. And listen how these clowns are doing it. This is just... listen how they're doing it, folks. You're going to start cracking up. So FEMA decides that they're going to, which is not an uncommon practice, but you would think that the application of such ways to get food from local farmers would be a little different. You would think that they would say, listen, we foresee, seeming that we're the, Federal Emergency Management Association, organization, whatever they're called. We're trying to plan in case of emergencies. So let's put in place for local farms a system in which you can put different crops aside, so if they're needed, then we can come get them. But no, they want to have it the easy way, and which is called confiscation. Okay? Naturalnews.com reports, since our nation's founding, the federal government has, in times of emergency, claimed extra constitutional powers and authority under the guise of acting in the public's best interest. Washington has taken away privacy rights, free speech, and habeas corpus, among others. There's no reason to think that it wouldn't happen again. So with that in mind, would it surprise you to find out that if disaster strikes in your part of the country, the federal government is prepared to take over local food supplies, in part by confiscating farms? It shouldn't, and we're going to keep moving on. All right. FEMA was doing an inventory of all farms around metroplexes, he said, which included nearby Houston and other large cities. They started calling up farms and wanted to know where farms were, and they were being prepared to maybe take food if they need to from farms, for a crisis like that. These are a bunch of clowns, man. They don't want, number one, they don't speak proper English, and you're heading a federal agency and can't talk. Number two, you're just going to confiscate people's stuff. I'm sure that you can find a more logistical way to get the foods and know the specific quantities and the requirements for the farmers, so it's not as intrusive on people's rights. But you're just going to come over and take my stuff? Man, please. America, open your eyes, wake up. I don't know if you need some eye drops or whatever it is, You need to do some soul searching, I guarantee you that. All right? Go ahead and read the article for yourself. Last but not least, folks, in this edition of Telling It Like It Is News, I want to talk about this mass flooding. I have it's from sgenergycrisis.com, and it's a blog, and there's about 20 or so YouTube videos on this particular blog about major flooding in the world in the year of 2010. And if you understand anything about how food works around the planet, is that crops that we are eating now normally came from stuff that was planted last year. Okay, and with all the major floods that's going on and all the natural disasters going around the world, and you can do more investigation for yourself, you have to consider the fact that you need to begin to be self-sufficient, because the major food outlets will be suffering because of lack of crops. Again, natural disasters such as what's going on in the Midwest and the New Madrid fault line and flooding worldwide. Especially, we import beef, we export beef, wheat, grains, and everything like that, folks. So just keep a conscious level. And this is another reason why you should prep and have food storage to hedge yourself against the madness of panic buying, the madness of the 72-hour window that you have for the food stock in your local Wally World or even other grocery store. So keep these types of things in mind. Check out the links. Hope you enjoy them. Again, Afro Prepper, thank you for tuning in. All of my new subscribers, hope you enjoy the videos and you can learn something and gives you some talking points to bring up to others to try to wake other folks up. But again, folks, appreciate you watching, and Afro Prepper, catch you on the flip side. Thank you.